Hey everybody, Jake here from Bearded Gear. I feel like I said that right. Weird. From Bearded Gear. Bearded Gear. Anyways, I have a package to open. This, as you can see, is from one of my best friends, Kevin, Lefty EDC. So if you aren't familiar with Lefty EDC, check him out. His channel will be linked down below. And this should be an Olamic Whippersnapper. I have held the Whippersnapper before. But I haven't carried one, I haven't owned one, and I've owned a few Olamic knives. I've reviewed the Wayfarer. Now that I have the Waypoint as well, I always get the two confused. I've reviewed the Wayfarer, actually I think twice on the channel, because I've had two of them in the time that I've had the channel. I've actually owned, I think, 4 of them, grand total. I really like the Wayfarer. For some reason, I just never seem to hang on to them super long term. But anyways, I've owned some Wayfarers. I've owned a Swish. Really like the Swish. I've handled the Busker a bunch of times. Never owned one. Handled the the Whippersnapper at California Custom Knife Show. I think now 2 years in a row. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, they've been out for at least a year and a half. So I've handled them. But again, haven't carried one, haven't owned one. And this one is Kevin's at the moment. He's offered to sell it to me. I wasn't sure whether at the moment I felt the need to buy one. I love Olamic knives. I think they're great. But they never seem to stick around super long term. And so he offered to just let me check it out and decide if we wanted to buy it. So this is just the unboxing. There will be a first impressions and a review. By the time that I do the full review, I will decide whether I want to keep it or send it back to Kevin. But anyway, here it is. Before I open this, actually, let's bust into these because he included some things in here. What's going on with this? All right. We have some new Lefty EDC stickers. There's a holographic one. There's a magnet, non-holographic. There's a round matte finish one. There's a round glossy finish one. And 2 on the edge coasters. So, if you're not familiar with On the Edge, this is a mashup between Lefty EDC and DTOM Knives and Gear, Kyle and Kevin. And every other Saturday, they do a live show on YouTube. And I've been on it now twice with them. I'll be trying to do it with somewhat regularity. Just Saturdays can be a little hard for me to commit to doing it every week. But they've done 5 episodes so far as of when I'm filming this. And yeah, I've already been on 2 of them. So I'm on there with them every now and then. I've got one of the mugs. I've got their keychain and their pin and all that stuff. And now they've got coasters. So I've got a couple of those here as well, which is good because my wife always yells at me for, like, right now. I have a cup. I've finished it, so it's not really like having condensation at the moment, but look at this. There you go. Now Mrs. Bearded Gear will be happy. All right, on to the knife. So, the Whippersnapper is a front flipper with a hole, so you can middle finger flick it. You can probably thumb flick it. I don't think I've ever tried. And you can front flip it. It's a pretty tall front flipper tab, if you will, sitting up there. This one's gorgeous. This is a blue anodized finish with kind of a blue, like satin, like kind of purpley actually, bluish purple blurple kind of thing going on in those speed holes. Got a back spacer that matches that, plus the hardware, those standoff things match, and the hardware. And then the way these clips stand up, the way Olamic does it, are pretty cool actually. The way they build these standoffs up there, and then down here. Yeah, that looks like it's just a machined part of titanium. But yeah, gorgeous hardware, gorgeous color on the scales. Kind of a grayish blue, which I like, a little bit subdued. And yeah, you've got a lanyard hole back here, which I'll never use, but it's there. So pretty sweet in terms of construction on these. I think on the Whippersnapper, that's what this one is, they do 2 different blade shapes, if I'm not mistaken. I think this one is the more Wharncliffe type one. I could be wrong. Maybe the other one's even more dramatic as a Wharncliffe, but cool blade shape on here nonetheless. Either way, I think it looks sweet. Pretty decent blade profile, a little thick but not crazy. Got a nice swedge, and the beauty of this knife is this forward choil, in my opinion, because you can choke up, and it really feels like a full-size handle, and it is. I'm getting all 4 fingers on here with room to spare, and the blade is relatively small in terms of your cutting edge, but you feel like you got a great sense of control over it. So I like the profile there. Olamics have never been super drop shutty for me, but the action on deployment is a lot of fun, and that front flipper is sweet. Yeah, that's a lot of fun to do. Plus you can, of course, middle finger flick this guy. It's even pretty comfortable back here, not choking up. Let's see if I can thumb flick it. Yeah, absolutely, all day long. So multiple deployment methods, definitely going to be a win in my book pretty much every time that it happens. Yeah, Olamic is one of those companies that I just really respect for how well they build knives. I feel like they're so underrated for what they are. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I think they belong in the conversation with like the big 3 of the US. So they have their parts made in Italy, and then they get brought over, and then the knives get built here in California, actually. So they're not fully US built, sure, but I think they absolutely hold their weight in a conversation against Strider, Hinderer, Chris Reeve. These knives are super high quality. They're really well built. Their customer service is excellent. The amount that they'll work with you on modding your knives, like to completely change handle colors and finishes, and like adding holes and like all kinds of crazy stuff that they'll do if you just send it to Olamic and pay them not crazy amounts of money to do it for you. Yeah, that is sweet. They're just a great, really cool company, and I've talked to Eugene over there, and I've heard great things about his dad, Ilya, and they're nice people by all accounts, and they make cool knives, and they're doing a lot of the work here at the very least in the US. And yeah, these are sweet. I like this a lot. I like this size better than the Busker, definitely. The Busker's pretty small. It would be more comfortable if you're trying to carry it in like a 5th pocket or something, but this is still a knife that I'll carry as a secondary. It's not too big for that. This is not quite enough blade length for me to feel like it would be a primary for what I'm used to carrying as a primary knife, so this would be more of a back left pocket type of carry for me. But it's gorgeous. It's really well finished. It looks great. Feels great. They have a really, I don't know, every Olamic I've ever held or owned has just felt like glassy. Like they have this really like intense smoothness to them. But it's not like, I don't know, like sometimes people say a knife feels glassy, and what they mean is it like isn't fun to fidget with. It's just smooth. But these are like somehow both. Like it's really fun to fidget with, especially on deployment. And then closing them, it's like a satisfying, just silky, I don't know. I like it. I like the way they feel. And every time I've used an Olamic, I've found that their performance is quite good. This one is in CPM 20CV, so that's great as well. It's got this other marking on it, WS335S. So Whippersnapper number 335S. Sheepscliff? Is this another Sheepscliff? I don't know. So I think, yeah, there are 2 blade shapes, because if there's that S designation, then that's probably what that means. Anyway, it's out of the box, guys. There will be a first impressions coming soon. And again, Left EDC will be linked down below. If you're not already following Kevin, then you should be, unless you don't like idiots, because Kevin's an idiot, but I love him for it. Just kidding. You're not an idiot, Kevin. You're great. We have that kind of relationship. Don't worry. I'm not just bullying him. He makes fun of me too, and I love him for it. Anyways, guys, thanks for checking it out with me. Left EDC will be linked down below. This is the Olamic Whippersnapper, and it's a pretty sweet knife. So I'll see you on the next one.